Every result has a price. Every goal requires a choice. Comfort keeps you where you are. Discipline takes you where you want to go. Welcome to Discipline Over Comfort with Bob Theriot. Real-world conversations on leadership, business, marketing, and execution.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Discipline Over Comfort podcast. I'm Bob Theriot, and I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me today. I want to begin with a question. Have you ever looked at someone in a leadership position and thought that maybe they've got it made, right? Maybe it's the CEO, the business owner, the coach, the military commander, the elected official. From the outside, leadership can look very attractive. People see the authority, the influence, the recognition, the success. But what they don't see is that every bill that arrives, there's a bill that arrives and it's every single day, because leadership isn't free. Leadership has a cost. I call it the leadership tax. And every leader pays it, not with money, but with responsibility. When I was younger, I believed leadership was something you earned. You worked hard, you get promoted, you build a business, become the boss, then life will become easier. What I've learned over the years is exactly the opposite. The higher you climb, the heavier things become. Every promotion brings more pressure. Every opportunity brings more responsibility. Every decision affects more people. Leadership isn't about gaining freedom. It's about accepting the weight. Think about the best leaders you've ever known. Maybe it was a parent, a coach, a teacher, a military leader, a pastor, a business owner. I guarantee you one thing. They carried burdens you never saw. They worried about people after hours. They made difficult decisions in private. They sacrificed time with their families. They absorbed the criticism. And most people, they never even noticed. That's the leadership tax. One of the biggest misconceptions about leadership is that it's about power. It isn't. Leadership is about responsibility. Power asks, what can I gain? Leadership asks, what do I owe? Those are two completely different mindsets. I often tell people, anyone can enjoy the benefits of leadership. Very few are willing to pay the price. Everybody wants the title. Very few want the burden that comes with it. Because titles, they are exciting, but responsibility isn't. Recognition feels very good. Accountability doesn't. Applause is fun. The criticism, that ain't so fun. You see, the higher you lead, the more criticism you receive. That's another leadership tax. No matter how thoughtful your decision, someone's going to disagree. No matter how hard you work, someone will think you aren't doing enough. No matter how transparent you are, someone will question your motives. If your confidence depends on universal approval, leadership will break you, because criticism isn't proof you're failing. Sometimes it's proof that you're actually leading. There's another tax people rarely talk about. It's the loneliness tax. Leadership can be incredibly lonely, not because you're alone, not because there are decisions only you can make. There are conversations only you can have. There are burdens you can't hand off to someone else. Leadership often means smiling in public while carrying pressure in private. Another leadership tax, growth. If you're leading correctly, you'll constantly outgrow the person that you used to be. Every challenge demands a new version of you, a better communicator, a better listener, a better decision maker, a more patient person. Leadership forces growth, whether you like it or not. I spent more than 25 years leading marketing teams, building businesses, consulting organizations, and working with executives. One thing has remained true everywhere I've ever been or ever worked with. The best leaders never stop learning. They never believe that they've arrived. They ask questions. They seek feedback. They admit mistakes because they understand growth isn't optional. It's part of the tax. Here's another one, and I talk about this a lot: comfort. Leadership and comfort rarely exist together. If you're comfortable all the time, you're probably not leading, because leadership requires difficult conversations, hard decisions, calculated risk, uncomfortable accountability. Growth lives outside of comfort. That's why that podcast is called Discipline Over Comfort. Comfort is temporary. Discipline changes lives. Now, let me challenge you with something. Maybe you don't think you're a leader. Maybe you don't manage employees. Maybe you don't own a business. Maybe you don't supervise anyone. That doesn't matter. Leadership begins long before the title. You lead your family, your friends, your coworkers, your children. Your example influences someone every single day, whether you realize it or not. The question isn't whether you're leading. The question is, what kind of leader are you becoming? If leadership is available to everyone, then so is the leadership tax: responsibility, integrity, consistency, accountability, service, sacrifice. Those aren't reserved for the CEO. Those belong to all of us. I believe the greatest leaders in history weren't remembered because they accumulated power. They were remembered because they accepted responsibility. When things became difficult, they leaned in. When everyone else stepped back, they stepped forward. When sacrifice was required, they paid the price. So let me leave you with this thought. Stop asking, when I finally become a leader, instead ask, what responsibility am I avoiding today? Because leadership doesn't begin when someone gives you the permission. Leadership begins the moment you decide to carry more than you are required to carry. That's when everything changes. So, this week's execution challenge, I want to leave you with a challenge, and that's pay part of the leadership tax. Have the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Take responsibility for something that isn't technically your job. Help someone without expecting recognition. Own a mistake before someone points it out to you. Do one thing that costs you your comfort, but make someone else's life better, because that's what leaders do. Not when it's easy, especially when it isn't. If today's episode challenged you, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share this episode with someone that needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter, Discipline Over Comfort, where every Tuesday I share practical leadership lessons, business strategies, AI insights, and real-world execution ideas to help you grow as a leader. You'll find all the links in the description below. Until next time, remember, leadership isn't measured by the title on your business card. It's measured by the responsibility you're willing to carry. I'm Bob Theriot. Thank you for listening. And as always, choose discipline over comfort.